Okay, this video is still more rational graphs, and most of it is going to be the same, but this time some holes are going to occur. And just like last time, a lot of the things are the same. The way you find vertical and horizontal asymptotes, the same. The way you find x and y intercepts, the same. It's just that we have to acknowledge that a hole occurs in the graph. So the whole graph is going to be there, except at one point, there's a hole and everything else exists. So these graphs happen when we have x squareds. Well, I mean, they can happen anytime, but the ones we're going to do have x squareds in them. And so to be able to do anything, the first thing we need to do is to factor. So I'm going to factor the top, and that's going to be x plus 4, x minus 4. And on the bottom, I'm going to have x plus 4, x plus 2. Now, a hole, or just literally a hole in the graph, is going to occur where something is the same on the top and the bottom, and that is at x plus 4. So to find the hole, we're going to set x plus 4 equal to 0, so we get x is negative 4. Once we realize that we can simplify the equation, now we're going to rewrite it as x minus 4 over x plus 2. And for everything else, we are only going to use the simplified version of this graph. We are not going to go back to the original one. So when we answer these questions, we're just going to look at the simplified one. Well, that's going to make things go much easier, and it's exactly like what we've done before. So now the vertical asymptote, that's what makes the bottom 0. So we get x is negative 2. The horizontal asymptote is the ratio of the leading coefficients. In this case, it's 1 over 1, which is just going to be 1. As a side note, for these ones where there's holes, I'm keeping things pretty straightforward, and the horizontal asymptote is just always going to be 1 on these. So that's nice. Okay, so we have a vertical asymptote at negative 2. We have a horizontal asymptote at 1. And now we're going to find our x-intercept. Our x-intercept is what makes the top equal 0. So x minus 4 equals 0. So that's going to be 4, 0. The y-intercept is, as when x is 0, and it's just the numbers at the end, which is negative 4 over 2, which is just negative 2. So I have 0, negative 2. So now I'm going to plot my 2 points. I have 4, 0, and 0, negative 2. So now there is my graph. And because I have points in the bottom left, I know my new points have to occur in the top left. So as I'm looking to find them, I can't do negative 2 because that's an asymptote. So I'm going to keep moving to the left. So I'm going to start with negative 3. So I'm going to do f of negative 3. So at negative 3, when I plug that into the simplified version, that's negative 3 minus 4 over negative 3 plus 2. So that's negative 7 over negative 1, which is 7. So negative 3 is 7. And now I need to find the next one over, which is negative 4. And when I do negative 4, I have negative 4 minus 4 over negative 4 plus 2. So that gives me negative 8 over negative 2, which is 4. Now, most of you, your gut instinct then is to plot that point. But let me draw your attention to right here. We said at the beginning there was a hole where x is 4. So that means instead of having a solid point here, we actually are going to have an open circle here. We have a hole. Now my graph is going to fill in just like it has before, except at that one spot, there's a hole. That's it. Everything else is the same. Nothing has changed except that one little part where there's a hole. All right, let's try that again on the second example. On the second example, we need to factor the top and the bottom. So this is going to factor to x plus 3, x plus 1. The bottom is going to factor to x plus 2. Just kidding, that was not plus 1, that's minus 1. Oh. Okay, the bottom is x plus 2, x minus 1. So where there's a match, that's where the hole is, at x minus 1. So I set that equal to 0, so my hole is at 1. Once I cross those out, now I'm only going to be working with the simplified form from here on out. Everything else is going to work the same. My vertical asymptote is what makes the bottom 0. So I have x plus 2 equals 0. So it's going to be x equals negative 2. My horizontal asymptote is the ratio of the leading coefficients. And on these factoring ones, it's going to keep coming out to be 1 over 1, which is 1. So let's draw those lines. So I have a vertical line at negative 2. I have a horizontal line at 1. Now I need to find the intercepts. So the x-intercept is what makes the top of my simplified version 0. So I have x plus 3 equals 0, so it's going to be -3, 0. My y-intercepts are the numbers at the end because x goes away because x is 0. So my y-intercept is going to be 0, 3/2, which if it helps you is 1.5. So let's plot those points. So I've got -3, 0, and 0, 1.5. Oh, look what happened here. I still have my intercept. It's still completely correct. I've done nothing wrong. This time, though, my intercepts just ended up in 2 sections of the graph, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But for these problems, I want you to have 2 points in each section. So now, instead of the 2 intercepts being in one section and the ones you have to find in the other, now they're split, 1 and 1. And so now I got to find 1 point in each section. So let's start, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to start down here in the bottom left. So I'm going to focus on this section. So if I'm focusing on this section, I can't plug in -2 because that's an asymptote. -3, I already know the answer for, that's a waste of time. So I'm going to start with -4. So I'm going to find f of -4. So when I do that, I have -4 plus 3 over -4 plus 2, which gives me -1 over -2, which is 1/2. So at -4, it is 1/2. So now I have 2 points and I can draw that in. I'm good to go. Okay, let's see what happens on the other one. Now I need to pick a point over here so that I have 2 points, 2 in my bottom left, 2 in my top right. So let's look at my options. I can't pick -2. It's an asymptote. I could use 1. I've already used 0, so I'm not going to do that. I can use -1. I don't want to use 0 because I already used that. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could use any of them. Okay. Doesn't matter what you pick. Pick whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. That said, you know you're going to have a special point. You're going to have a hole at x is 1. So since 1 is one of my options, I'm going to go ahead and pick it so I can figure that out. So I can, take care of 2 things at one time. So I'm going to find f of 1. Let's just figure out exactly where that is. Okay, well, that's going to be at 1 plus 3 over 1 plus 2. So it's going to be 4 over 3, which is 1.3. Okay, so it's just going to be just above here, right there. All right, now that I know that, I not only can draw my graph, but I also have my hole drawn in. So I was able to take care of 2 things at once. All right, in class, we only did the first 3 examples, so that's all I'm going to do with you right now. And then there's other opportunities for you to practice. So first thing is we got to factor the top. So this is going to factor to x plus 3, x plus 2. Factor the bottom, x minus 5, x plus 2. So what cancels out are the 2's. So my hole is going to be where it cancels out. So it's going to be at -2. And now from here on, I am going to work with a reduced simplified version of my equation. The vertical asymptote is what makes the bottom 0. So when I solve, I get x is 5. The horizontal asymptote is the ratio of the leading coefficients, which is 1 over 1, which is 1. So I'm going to make a vertical line here, and I am going to make a horizontal line here at 1. Now I'm going to find my intercepts. So my x is what makes the top 0. So I have x plus 3 equals 0. So x equals -3. So this is -3, 0. And my y is when x is 0. So it's the numbers at the end. So it's going to be 0, -3/5. Okay, so here's -3, 0. And 0, -3/5 is here. So we can see where the points are going to go in the general arc. So that one's good to go. Oh, but wait, what did I miss? The hole. The hole is right here at -2. Now, I can't do it with my computer pen, but you can easily take your pencil and just erase that little section and put an open circle there. But I got this weird pen that erases in chunks and I can't do that. So I'm going to put a hole here at -2. I don't need to worry about finding the exact point. I can just see where it is and we're good to go. Okay, let's try the next one. Oh, we got to find 2 more points because I've got 2 points down here. I ended up actually having pretty much 3, but I still need 2 points in the other section. And since these were in the bottom left, I know I need them in the top right. So when I'm picking points, I can't pick 5. That's on my line. So I'm going to start with 6. So let's start and find f of 6. So f of 6 is going to be 6 plus 3 over 6 minus 5. So it's going to be 9 over 1, which is up here a little bit. Let's move over and find 7. F of 7 would be 7 plus 3 over 7 minus 5. So that's 10 over 2, which is 5. So at 7, we're at 5. And now I connect my 2 points, and there's my arc, and we're done. Your single page homework is due on Monday for even and Tuesday for odd. And then the test review is due the day of the test, which is Wednesday for even and Tuesday for odd of next week.